Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Intuitive Insights. I am Dr. Yolanda Dukes, and my guest today is Letitia of Lemuria. She channels a being called Kai of the Pyramids, and her story is absolutely fascinating. I am so glad that she's here to share in this wonderful experience of enlightenment with me today. Hi, Letitia. How are you? Welcome.
Hello, I'm fine. How are you?
I am absolutely delighted that you are here.
Me too.
So you are a living channel.
Yes.
Yes. Explain that to people what that means for those who haven't had that experience just yet.
Channeling comes in different ways for everybody. To me, I hear when they speak to me, I hear them.
Your audience.
And I also feel through my empathy, feel exactly what they need me to feel. And it also comes in dreams with me. So I'll get it in dreams, and then when I'm meditating the message, and then when I do my channeled messages, it is automatic writing. So I'll do Kai of the Pyramid Beings and the House of Kai, which have come in the last few years. But before that, I did Adama, High Priest of Telos, who was the first being that came through. And I've done Lord Ganesh, and I also Zohar of Shambhala.
Okay.
So Adama has been a main feature with that for me, though, in the beginning.
And that's how it started.
Yeah, he gave me the confidence to realize, where I was at.
And how did he come into your reality? Through dream or through one of the other avenues?
It's a long story. I was almost killed in 1989 by a drunk driver.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hit so hard that the engine flew out of the car up 100 feet down the road. And I don't remember the wreck to this day. I didn't lose consciousness. I just blacked it out, and to this day. However, that was one of my off exit sites. In your life, we all have exit points in our life if you want to leave, if it's time. And it was one of my exit points. And he came, and I didn't remember that it was him, but he came and showed me if I stayed, what would happen. And he told me it would be painful. Mm-hmm. He told me it would be a long haul. But he also told me the rewards for helping people, which was always my passion, would be what it was about for me. And so I guess that I stayed at that point. I didn't remember it until 2011 when I had a meditation. And he came in and showed me visions and reminded me that, and I do remember that. I remember, standing back and seeing, but I don't remember anything else. And it was pretty tragic, so I don't want to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think a lot of people, when you have that experience, I think it's safe to say that you left your body. That type of trauma is not something anybody should be remembering. So
exactly,
that part's good. And then they do come when you have those things happening in your life that are so painful, to give you some guidance and to remind you that you do have a choice, which is truly beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, so you began to remember. Was this like the first time you were meditating? How did that happen?
I've meditated in all my life.
Okay.
I've meditated and done, laid my hands on people for helping people all my life. It's a family. I'm a 4th generation healer. It's a family energy. But my mom turned away from it because so it kind of got disconnected. Mm-hmm. And through dysfunctional family stuff, I didn't start really doing it knowingly until I got older.
Okay.
So, but I could levitate when I was younger and things like that. So, and I could hear very, very well, but there's certain points in life where sometimes to function, it gets shut down.
Definitely. So what happened with the levitation part? Is it just that you got a little older and the suspension of disbelief happened, or what was that about?
My 5th grade teacher stepped out of the room and left all of us around, and there were about 5 of us, and we got together, and I knew how to levitate. And so I showed us all how to do it. I put one of us in a chair, and I showed us all how to do it. And this is so funny. I was so popular the rest of the day. You know how kids are. Oh my gosh. So then I know they all went home and told their parents, and you know what happened.
Oh,
then
cool.
I was the pariah.
Yeah.
So the next day I went to school, and it's like, oh my gosh. Well, I was so sensitive that when I went home and told my mom and everything, it's like as soon as that happened, I shut it down.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, I think a lot of people have that experience. That's again why it's so important for you to share your experience. Is that children were so enamored by the adults in our life, and when they tell us something's not real, we believe it's not real.
exactly.
Wow. But I truly do honor your experience. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So what else happened? You have been meditating so you knew, you were familiar with all these things.
Yeah, I grew up, my dad especially was always into all sorts of different forms. I remember in my garage, he built a pyramid one time and was meditating in it. So this is something that I grew up, and my dad was a channel as a very young child too. So meditation has always been, I've always wanted that center of peace, that center of being. And so I've had no problem with that. I would astral flight in my younger years, and then they told me that I wouldn't be doing that because I wasn't staying in my body, and we're here to live and be in our bodies.
I know. Sometimes that's a pain in the butt, isn't it?
Yes, and it was like taking candy. You know what I mean? It's like, thanks a lot.
I do teach meditation. So do you mind answering the question? Like, is it silent meditation for you, or do you chant? Do you use beads? What type of routine do you have?
I'm very, very, very attached to my crystals.
Okay.
And so I also have tuning forks.
Okay.
And so I kind of get into, sometimes I'll chant. I go with what the feeling is. In the morning, I'll go out and ground with Mother Earth and do my own ceremonial, bringing in and blessing people, and then I feel that grounds me. Yeah. And that's usually when I usually try to meditate outside, but I live in Arizona, so sometimes it gets too hot.
Oh, yeah.
So I go in with the light. I bring in the light with the breath, and I become the light and the breath. And I lose all consciousness of my beingness. Okay. And so, I do have music on. And yes, I have chanted too. In fact, a lot of the times when I'm working with clients, I'll bring them into the chant with me. Okay. And when we do that, like what happened last week, Kai all of a sudden came in and started talking. But I don't step out of my body. Like, Casey did, he stepped away and allowed his body to be used as a vessel. Yes,
that happens with my clients as well. When their higher self comes in, they do kind of step aside a little bit. So I'm very familiar with that.
But I was told that wasn't the best thing for my body.
Okay.
And so because of the wreck and everything that I was in, I had a lot of physical problems that I had to get over. Yeah. And I was told that by surrendering my body, that wasn't a good thing. Okay. So he gives me signals, and I just get quiet and I hear him and I repeat. Okay. So that's how it happens.
That's awesome. So you are a practitioner at this point in your life.
Yes. Okay. I've been since for 7 years.
Okay. What type of practice do you have?
I do clairvoyant readings, and I do remote healings, and I do channeling messages.
Okay. Do you do distance, or is everything in person?
No, I actually only have one in-person client.
Oh.
So all of mine are remote and distance. Yes, right
awesome.
now.
Well, what type do you use? Skype, or what do you use?
Over the phone. Okay. And written. But I have Skype. I have Skype overseas. I have a client in Wales and some in Africa.
Oh, that's nice.
So I do. It's just that a lot of the ones overseas, let's put it that way, those are more Skype.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how would a person best use your services? They were looking for what? Who calls you the most, I guess you could say?
The ones that are in pain, in problems, usually on how to love themselves. They don't know how to get past letting go of forgiveness of something that happened to them, something they may have done themselves. Everybody's human.
Yeah.
And everybody, usually my biggest thing is I help people to let go and use the tools that are given them. Each one has different tools, and the tools help them to rise up and empower themselves, because that's the biggest thing. We all have it.
Yeah. And then people forget. That's why you need intuitive. So people forget. That's why you hired intuitive. Yeah.
Yes.
To remind you of your own power.
Yes. And then the healing is bringing of energy through, the great central sun, bringing that energy, empowering them to know that they're connected to Mother Earth, and that's within them. They are the light. And as soon as you teach them that they're the light, oh my gosh, it's so awesome.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Well, tell me about Kai.
Kai came in 2016. So Adama, at the beginning of 16, I was working with him, and I wanted to understand multidimensionality. I wanted to understand reality more, and different realities and dimensions. And so I was asking him, he says, I'm not the one to tell you that. I'm not the one to work with you with that. And I was like, wait a minute, holy cow. And he goes, no, there's another that you worked with all your life, you've been working with, but you call him by a different name, and you must accept he's going to be your teacher now. And I was a little blown away, and I actually felt alone for a little while. And then I had gone into meditation one day about halfway through 2016, and all of a sudden this beautiful being just came in, and he was just so full of love. And I was astral flight. He took me on an astral flight outside Mother Earth, and it's not like we slipped into a different dimension, and I saw like 10 different Earths right in a row. And it wasn't what he said, it's what was downloaded in the understanding of we're all choosing moment to moment what reality and what dimension we choose, and how we're going to empower ourselves in life. It's nobody else, it's us.
Yeah.
And it's the division that we need to get rid of. There should be no division. We're all the same.
Definitely. And I have something to add to that as well. I had an experience with my guide, Samuel, who I love and trust, that we've had a blending. And I asked him a very similar question. How can you help me to understand multidimensional reality? And he showed me a time when I was about 7, and they have those little matchbooks, or in the TV guide, they had little turtle with a hat on. If you think you can be an artist, draw this.
Yes.
Well, there was a version of myself who actually did that and became an artist, and I got to see that life. And it was so completely different than the life I'm living. And I gave myself beautiful art lessons. I saw my parents, I saw my sibling. It was divine, but it also made me realize the life I'm fully present in now, I chose one of great pain by not focusing on my creativity and my intuition.
That's what happened after the wreck, is I went through years of pain. In fact, I was physically in pain, but mentally in pain too. And I was on fistfuls of medication. I will be very honest that I'd worked in the medical field for years and years. And so in 2011, we made the decision to move from Oregon to Arizona, my husband and my daughter and I. And as soon as we got down here to the Southwest, I just knew, done, I'm done. And I heard that I would no longer be here if I had stayed on those medications.
Oh yeah, I've been there myself, yeah.
Exactly. And so I titrated my own self, having been in the medical field. I titrated my own self off of them, and have been off of them since. Organic, healthy vitamins, eat as much green and good food as you can, and surround yourself with goodness. And I really don't have much pain.
That's wonderful. I'm getting over it. It is a battle.
It is.
I'm winning, I believe, at this point. I have had to change my life, but I've changed my life for the better. How does when you were married, were you in an accident when you were married?
No. My husband, my beautiful husband, who I've been married to for 15 years, and I went to high school together. But actually, it was such a big high school that we don't really remember each other too much, and it would not have been the right timing. Both of us had to go through experiences in life.
Definitely.
And so I had 2 relationships before, both abusive. And I bless them. They're my greatest teachers.
Definitely.
You know, the people that you come through adversity with, they're your greatest teachers in the world. And oh my gosh, if I hadn't have had them, I wouldn't be where I was and where I am.
Different person.
So my husband and I were pretty much thrown together. And it was a kind of a blind date, and we a month after we got together, we had our first kiss, and it was at Chehalis Falls in Oregon, which means heaven above, and that's what we named our daughter. So we got married a year later. Yeah, he's a beautiful, beautiful being.
How does he feel about what you do?
He is my biggest supporter. I would not be here without him. He is my grounded. Him and my daughter are the ones that keep me grounded. Otherwise, I'd be out there all the time.
That's so beautiful.
It's true. Wow. I know my fault.
Is it? I see a lot of empaths have been through some really tumultuous things in relationships. Do you have a point of view on that? Why that happens? I mean, I know they're our greatest teachers, but I think, you know, empaths attracted for a very specific reason.
I think that I was a pleaser. As an empath in a childhood, you want everybody to be happy. And when you're in your family group and there's challenges, you turn yourself inside out. And sometimes you become what you realize you don't want to be, you know, because you're trying to please everybody. And so when you start dating, which I actually didn't date till I was 21, I didn't want to. I had horses, and the terrible thing is one of them, you know, my horses were my world.
Gotcha.
And I was allowed to have a very fanciful childhood. I'm so blessed with that. But when you get in the real world, you find out it's not a fantasy either, you know. So I had no experience, and he was in the wreck with me, the first one. And then about a year later, he turned into Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And I understand. Now I can stand back and see why he had his problems too. You know, none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
And so there was something maybe that I did that sparked him. You know, I'm not giving him an excuse. That is not an excuse. But you want to please. That's what happens, especially with women, is you want to please. And I think that is another thing that I've been able to help empower a lot of women with, because our time has come.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And when you have a solid man who is your partner, who can cry at a commercial and be fine with it, and yes, he might be listening.
And that's okay. We honor his feelings. That's completely fine.
Exactly. And so it's a beautiful thing, you know. So that's how I got into 2 relationships that were not good.
So, and I also see, like, when you are channeling Kai, are you automatically writing at that point? Do you type it out on computer? Or
usually what he'll do is he'll come in a dream.
Okay.
And then I always meditate before I do anything. And then in meditation, in remote viewing, I'll meet him. And I'll go up to the pyramid, into their ship. And it's like, it's a different world. It's just, I can't even describe it. It's beautiful.
Well, try to explain how you feel when that happens so we can understand.
Oneness, beauty and colors. It's hard to describe. It's a peace and a oneness. And it's all acceptance for who you are. When I go up, it's right. And I've never felt foreign. I've never felt like I didn't belong. And he has 14 children. That's the house. And they all are just full of love. And I feel that's my mission. I want to give love and show people that they are love. And so I believe that that's why the fit is so well between the, you know, communication. And then he'll let me know that he wants to get a message out, which lately has been like once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'll be here for a couple hours just typing, and then, you know, getting up and taking a break and coming back. So.
And I see the artwork that's associated with your channeling. Are you the artist who does that?
No, I go to, no, I'm trying to incorporate my daughter someday. She's an artist. It's phenomenal. And so we're going to write book. We're already working on writing a children's book, and she's doing the illustrations, and I'll do the part of the book that to help children feel empowered.
So she's the one who's doing the illustrations for your website now?
No, she has not done any of the illustrations for the website, no.
Okay. Where are those coming from?
The handwriting and the artist, that's me.
Okay.
See the Lemurian handwriting? Is that what you're
talking about? Yes, the light language. I see that.
Yes. The light language is me. So, yeah, no, the pics on the website are from the ones that you can use without copyright.
Oh, okay. You picked some wonderful images. They're just so inspiring. It was like, wow. And there are a lot of images I haven't seen before, so I was like really surprised.
Thank you.
Wow. So what would you say to an inspiring empath?
Validate yourself. Validate yourself and realize that you are who you think you are and know you are, and you have a gift, and we are all here to share our gifts and to not judge one another, but to use the art of discernment. And we're here to be the light, and never devalue yourself, never deface yourself for that. It matters not what you wear. It matters not who you are with. It is about the being and the gift that you have. And the more you own that gift, the more you validate that gift, the greater it will happen, and your life will change astronomically.
That is incredibly beautiful. Wow. I am touched. I don't think I've met with, done this face-to-face with any channelers before. I mean, I can just feel this calm, soft, caring energy that just radiates from you. It's freaking awesome.
Well, thank you. That's what I meditated on before we got on here. So.
Well, it worked.
Well, I just want people to realize the light within themselves. I believe that we're on an epic, which we all do, time of change.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's going to be sooner than later.
What does Kai say about the ascension? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I saw something about that on your site as well.
Kai is here for the ascension. Kai and, you know, the Lemurians in Telos, they're all here ready to step up. In fact, even there's some beings within Middle Earth. I've had contact with the dragons. There was a mantis being a couple of weeks ago that I had contact with. And I'm going to give you something special that tickled me. I asked Kai for about a month and a half ago, maybe 2, for a physical. I wanted a physical evidence that everything was with us and that I was in contact with them. I went out. I get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because Michael and I get him up and out of the house because he's got to go to work. And then I'll go outside and I'll look at the stars, or before I do his breakfast. And I had stepped outside to let my dogs out. And I looked up to the right. And all of a sudden, and by the way, you see ships around here all the time. It's just everywhere. And you're everywhere. So I saw one light go this way, so it shot this way, and then another one this way, so they were crossing, and then another one. Okay, so I had a pyramid, and I kid you not, within that pyramid there was a boom flash of light like a stargate. I was so stunned. I sat there and I'm just like, oh my God, you know, you start discrediting yourself right away.
Oh yeah.
And he said, stop. And he said, yes, that was your sign.
And I know, and you're familiar with the Essassani civilization as well. And I know Bashar has spoken about that he has a ship that's above Sedona. Would you have any idea why Arizona is such a hotbed of activity?
The Indians are the keepers, the Hopi and the Zunis. It's so close to the Four Corners.
Okay.
This is where a lot of the Indians came out of Middle Earth from the last time that we, had to go with the pole shift and everything that happened.
Oh.
Why? Hang in there real quick. What? This is a magical area. We were drawn all the way from Oregon, which is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But we were drawn here, and it is beautiful, and it sings to your heart down here. You can feel the earth.
Wow.
So, in fact, I walked into a canyon one time, and I could hear the tribe that I had been with at one point. I heard them, and it was phenomenal. And I said,
so
hey!
the history vibrates there is what I'm feeling. It vibrates, and wherever you are, if you were kind of, you find a new attunement as you're finding a new place. That's beautiful. Wow.
And Sedona is absolutely gorgeous. We lived there for a year, and it's just filled with so much vibration. But that vibration is like melting out through the land even farther and farther, and it's just beautiful. So ultimately, I would like to have a ranch, a healing ranch with horses to help people and from all walks of life that they can come. And actually, Kai told me that he would land too. So that's down the road.
Awesome. Okay, that would be awesome. Well, we are about out of time. And again, I thank you and I appreciate you. And I thank all of the viewers and I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing this half hour with me. Letitia, you are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a joy. Bye-bye.